Okay, so what if I told you one of the biggest climate culprits? Well, it isn't your car. It's not a factory. It might actually be what's on your dinner plate right now. Yeah, we're about to dig into the powerful and honestly often hidden connection between animal agriculture and our warming planet.
I mean, it seems like a pretty simple question, right? A cow is just, well, a cow. But the answer? Oh, the answer scales up in a way that has these huge, massive implications for every single one of us. It's kind of wild.
120 kilograms. Think about that number for a second. That's not how much the cow weighs. No, that's the weight of the pure methane gas just one cow can release every single year.
And you know, that one number is just so incredibly important. Why? Because the impact of just one animal is way, way bigger than most of us ever imagine. So let's break down exactly why that is.
Okay, so methane, it's not just any old gas. You can think of it like a greenhouse gas on steroids. It's just so much more potent at trapping heat in our atmosphere than CO2. And what that means is that every single one of those 120 kilos has this supercharged warming effect on our planet.
All right, so let's zoom out for a second. We're going from that one cow to the entire global herd. Now, when you multiply that 120 kilograms by literally billions of cattle, sheep, and goats, well, the numbers just become staggering. We're talking hundreds of millions of tons of this really potent gas being released every single year. It's a lot.
But wait, the story doesn't even end with methane. Nope. Animal agriculture also produces another really powerful greenhouse gas. It's called nitrous oxide, and it comes from two main places. First, from these huge lagoons of manure you see on farms, and second, from the chemical fertilizers that are used to grow all the feed for these animals.
And you know, that last point, the feed, that brings us to a part of this whole system that is so often completely overlooked. It's like this invisible environmental burden of just growing what these animals eat. And this is a really crucial point, so listen up. Almost half, just let that sink in for a moment, half of all the climate-damaging emissions from livestock don't even come from the animals themselves. They come from the huge industrial process of growing their food. So what exactly are we growing for them? Well, primarily, it's these high-impact crops like soy and corn. And this sets off this devastating chain reaction. See, to make room for these gigantic fields, massive areas of forest get cleared. That releases all the carbon they've been storing and, of course, destroys vital ecosystems in the process. And don't think for a second this is just about cattle. Industrial pork and poultry, okay, they might not produce methane in the same way, but they've got their own huge climate problem. They are incredibly energy intensive. I'm talking burning massive amounts of fossil fuels for everything from growing the feed to processing the meat. So, all of this leads to a pretty critical question, right? Are all meats created equal when we're talking about their climate impact? The answer is a hard no, not even close. Let's actually compare them side by side. Wow, okay, just look at this. The difference is so stark. I mean, on one end, you've got beef with this absolutely towering climate footprint. Then you have chicken, which is way lower, and then, way, way down at the bottom, you find plant-based proteins. It's really not even a competition. Let's put some hard numbers on that, just to be clear. For the exact same amount of protein, get this. Beef generates up to 6 times more emissions than chicken. And what about compared to plants, like beans or lentils? It's over 10 times more. That difference is absolutely dramatic. So, okay, when you put it all together, the methane, the feed production, these direct comparisons, what's the bottom line? What's the one big, urgent conclusion we're left with?
Well, the conclusion is pretty direct, and there's not a lot of ambiguity here. As long as livestock numbers are not drastically reduced, our climate goals will remain unattainable. It's that simple. The math just doesn't add up.
And that brings this huge global issue right back to a very personal place, doesn't it? Our dinner plate. So, knowing the real climate cost, the final question isn't just about what this means for our food. It's about what choices we're willing to make.